welcome to We Geek Podcast. Today is October 6th, 2020. My name is Adam, and as always, joined by my good friend Logan.
Hello.
And we are on episode 196. Don't know if I said that already, but damn, dude, it's been a lot of episodes. How have you been?
Yeah, same old, same old.
Same old.
Getting looking to start getting back into my old groove again. We're about to reopen the floodgates at the theater finally. So
Oh boy.
the everybody that's going to show up for the first week, that'll be great, and then after that it's going to fall off a cliff. It's not,
Yeah.
because it's like that everywhere. I mean, it's why Regal decided that with nothing coming out, they should just close up again. I get that. I understand that decision. It sucks for everybody involved, I know, but from a business perspective, I get it.
Everything's backing out. Yeah, man. So that's what I was gonna say. What are these other theaters gonna do? Like, what are the theaters you work at? What is like AMC? Like, what do you think?
All I know is the AMC is still moving forward. There's an email that's made the rounds, and it's been up on like Variety and the Hollywood Reporter and stuff, saying, they're going ahead. There's always the caveat of, we reserve the right to alter this strategy as situations develop, but for the time being, it's open the doors, let people in, keep following the safety protocols and what have you. But I just, there's the only thing that's coming out between now and Christmas is Soul, and I would not. It was going to be Soul and No Time to Die, and that was going to be Thanksgiving, and that was going to be like a decently big holiday weekend again. I was like, oh, okay, this is going to feel almost normal. But they moved No Time to Die to next April, and I would not be surprised if they bumped Soul either to a later date or they just stuck it on Disney Plus like they did with Mulan. It wouldn't surprise me. But
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't see how the movie theater industry at this point is going to survive.
the ones I'm
Like, I don't want to sound like that guy, but
you're not wrong.
how do they do this without a bailout or something?
They're gonna need one. My heart breaks for the small places. The local 4, 6, maybe 8 screen if they're high budget independents. But one that I've been seeing, I'm a big fan of Aperture Cinema. And they've been they're crowdfunding, they're selling everything they can to stay afloat, and I hate it. I love little places like that, but it sucks. There's no other way around it. It just sucks. But when you don't have product, what else are you gonna do? I get why Regal decided to go back to being closed. I hate it for people, especially in North Carolina, because we just got the green light, on Friday to say, okay, you guys can be open at 30% capacity or 100 people per auditorium, whichever is least. Which I don't think affects. I don't think any of the auditoriums in my building. I think the 30% is least, but it's I hate it for them because I know they had to be gearing up to get ready to reopen and get people back in there. And I'm sure they were making calls and saying, all right, who's coming back? Make sure we do this training. We got to come in and set all this up and whatever. And, within the next 2 or 3 days, have to turn around and make more phone calls. Hey, don't come in. We're not opening. That's got to suck. That's absolutely got to suck.
Not only that, there's no stimulus check until next year, if any.
If any, yeah, because
Right.
those talks have been halted entirely. So
Yeah,
it's just it's garbage, and I hate it. But it's what happens.
Oop, sorry. Hold on, sorry, I thought I muted my phone.
There's gonna be a fun blooper in there. It's like, here's this
That
big
was
serious moment about economics, and then there's this little baboon laugh, and the camera goes off. It's like,
that was
alright,
Yoda.
well,
Excuse you.
I didn't. Well, I
Okay.
couldn't hear it all that well. I'm hearing it through a phone speaker, through your microphone, through my
You're right.
speakers. So.
You want to hear? All right, I'll tell that story later. But I changed my ringtone to Yoda's laugh a while ago.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Do you want to hear the story?
Yeah, sure. I'll hear the story. Something to get out the doom and gloom that is, movies. Bottom line is the big chains will find a way to survive. They will. They may look very different by the time this is all said and done. They may be pared down. They may lose locations and staff, but they will survive. But the independents, they're going to struggle, and they're the ones that are going to really need help. Big time.
I think, unfortunately, we're going to see a lot less theaters. I think you're absolutely right. I think the big boys will survive, and people will drive a little bit distance to go see a movie, maybe, hopefully in the future. But you're absolutely right. The mom and pop shops, mom and pop theaters, smaller chains, maybe just a couple theaters there's no way they survive this. They're going to have to pack it up, and sometime in the future when, people feel a little bit safe, to go back in. I think once there's a vaccine out, it'll be a lot better. There'll be a lot more people going out, a lot more. They'll feel a lot more willing to get into a theater with packed full of people and eat some popcorn and enjoy themselves. And it's. Once I saw that news, I was just like, God,
Yeah.
Obviously, we want to see Dune as soon as we can. We want to see 007, but how many different lives this has affected, and people can't go to work. And I don't know. Don't want to get political, but just how it's being taunted as this, not a thing to be worried about is just ridiculous. So, sucks to see. But yeah. So you want to hear about why I changed my ringtone to Yoda?
I want to hear this story. This ought to be good.
It was a while ago, and let's see what happened. I was watching TV. I had my phone on my lap, and I heard my text message tone go off, right?
Okay.
There's nothing. There's no text message. I look at my phone. I'm looking dead at my phone. There's nothing there. I hear it again. It's not coming from the phone.
Okay.
But there's nothing on TV that would be a text message, by the way. I think at this point I turned it down. I was kind of like freaked out. It wasn't a like I said, you can tell when something's coming from the television across the room, and it's not a show where there'd be a text message whatsoever.
Right, I got you.
And I'm like, this is in my home. There's a phone in here, and it freaked me out because I thought, well, maybe someone's like in the attic or something. I couldn't figure out where this text message tone was coming from, and I'm by myself, of course, so I'm freaking out. So I decide to change my ringtone to Yoda's laugh. So now I will always know if it's Yoda or if it's my phone calling, and it goes woo, instead of a normal text message tone. And I looked everywhere. I'm like, okay, where could this have come from? What device could this be on? And I still don't know. I didn't find anything. I think I did eventually find my old phone behind the couch, like in the cushion thing, but it was long dead. Like it doesn't turn on. It was one of the reasons why it was like a phone that was updated 2 phones ago, if that makes sense.
Right. I got you.
It was so dead that there's no way it could have came from there, but I don't know. It was weird because the text message was coming from in my home, and it was that moment of realization that someone else is here.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah, where it's like
really,
there's no other explanation than there's somebody in the house.
Someone's here. Yeah. And I couldn't figure it out. I thought I even went up, like checked the attic space. Nothing's there. Because I'm thinking like maybe someone's. I called my friend. I'm like, this shit's happening. And she's like, well, people, they like, they'll stay in I guess she saw a story where they like they lived in someone's attic for however long because I forgot what she called them, like campers or something like that.
Yeah, they do it in attics. Some people live in walls. Like, you hear these stories and they're insane.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought of.
Yeah.
Like, I am not alone. But yeah, I found my phone. It was a phone my grandma gave to me. So I thought maybe it was just a sign, or something in my head. Heard a ding, and then I heard it again, and I don't know. It was weird. It was very weird. So I ended up changing my tone to Yoda's laugh, and so that's just what it is. So anytime my friends or anyone's around me, they hear that Yoda's laugh, they know who it's coming from.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and it's very loud, and I turned it down. So I apologize about that. But yeah, man. So you getting ready for time at the theater? Have you been in anything? You been watching anything? Playing anything?
I've played a little bit of Squadrons.
Ooh.
I have thoroughly enjoyed it. It is hard. Damn, it's hard.
Yeah.
Even on lower difficulties, it is hard.
Yeah.
Because you can't play it like I'm used to, and it was really funny because like a week before this came out, I think, or at some very recent point, the newest Ace Combat had been on sale on the PlayStation Store, and I was like, oh, I love this series, and so I picked that up, and I've been playing that, and then you go from that to Squadrons, and you're just like, oh, that's right. I forget that like Ace Combat is very, very much like it's an arcade game, really, right. With so much of it. Squadrons is a pain. Like, I'm enjoying it and I love it. It's entertaining, but when you're used to a particular kind of flight, I don't know what else to call it, flight combat simulator, a dogfighting game, and then you go to this, which is very different and arguably more of a simulation. This feels more like a training sim than an arcade game, in the sense of everything that you have to balance and how you have to fly and fight these things, I imagine, in a much, much more realistic sense. I know that's a weird thing to try to say about, starfighters, because those don't exist, but it's a whole different play style than I'm used to, and it's tough. It's tough. I'm enjoying it. I am. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I'm glad I got it. But it's tough. And I've just done the single player, just the story mode so far. I don't even want to dip my toe in the multiplayer. I'm gonna get slaughtered. I know it.
You got to. Hit me up, man. Let's play some.
I know I will eventually, but I'm just it's tough. It's rough. How much have you been playing? Have you been playing any of it?
I haven't played too much because of my complete and utter obsession of the World of Warcraft. We've talked about that.
That's fair.
But I did play the intro. I played the first level. So not that much. I loved what I played. But like I said, man, I'm in love with playing Warcraft right now. Like, it's so I shouldn't say that. Like, it's just been so much fun playing it over the last couple of months that, like, I actively, like, if that makes it, like, I'm like, oh shit, I need to jump on and level up this character. Like, this week I leveled up an alt, which means I leveled up another character to level 120, right? So now I have two characters at level 120. I'm trying to go for a couple different achievements, yada yada yada. I won't bore you, but I've been doing a ton of stuff in it, and I can't wait. I guess I'll just talk about it now. There's some news that came out about Warcraft. They've essentially pushed the date for Shadowlands. The pre-patch, which should have come out by now, it should have come out by early October, by late September, is now going to come out next Tuesday. So on the 13th, the pre-patch will hit, and they haven't given a solid date for the expansion Shadowlands. If I was a betting man, I would say it would be November 24th, around that date. The reason why I'm saying that is because they also pushed the release date of a book that was supposed to come out at the same time as Shadowlands. It's a book about the Eastern Kingdoms, anyway, but that's what a lot of people are saying. Oh, I don't think it's a coincidence that they pushed that book to November 24th. That's probably when they plan on releasing it. And this is big news because Blizzard has not pushed a Warcraft expansion since Burning Crusade, which some people would say was the best expansion. A lot of people think Wrath of the Lich King is. A lot of your classic players think Burning Crusade or Wrath of the Lich King were the best expansions. And one of the reasons why Burning Crusade was because they took their time. And that used to be something Blizzard was known for, that it's not finished until it's done, right? We're not going to push anything out there that's not polished. And that's what Blizzard used to be, right? Like when you thought of a Blizzard game, you thought that is going to be polished and it's going to feel silky smooth. It's going to be such a polished experience. And then lately, with the stuff with Diablo and some of the last few Warcraft expansions just weren't as, it just wasn't on the same level. So it's a big thing because it shows that they're still willing to listen to the fans, because apparently a lot of the beta players said this game is not ready to be released yet. There's a lot of things that got to fix with covenants and stuff like that. I won't get all into that, but it seems like they're really listening. They're listening to the fan base. They are agreeing with the fan base. It's not ready. So we're going to push the pre-patch a couple weeks, and so that comes out next week, and then the expansion will come out next week. So like I said, I am still loving the hell out of playing that game, and even so much that I never thought I'd be like, hey, I got this new Star Wars game and only put a couple hours into it, or however long I did. But yeah, no, it's been fun, and it's been mostly because of the people I play with. Like, having a good community with fun people changes everything, or else you're like, those kind of games, they would get so boring and so stale, and you'd want to turn on something different real fast. But having like a good group of friends where you're sharing memes all day, you're talking about like, oh, hey, I think I'm going to level. Like, it's been so much fun to do that. So it's been really cool. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. And yeah, I guess the only thing I've really played is the Star Wars game. And I agree with everything you said. I think it's got a good mix of the arcadey feel and the simulation. It reminds me of those old school TIE Fighter games. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot I need to learn about it. I tried both because I'm playing on the PC, and I had to mess with the settings because I didn't have my Steam settings set up to read my PlayStation controller, so it thought it was a joystick. So that was confusing.
I'm sure you were. God, I can't even imagine how that worked.
Yeah, but that was entirely my, I guess this is something people who play a lot of games on Steam just already know. The thing is, I've never went in there and changed it. So I'll plug in my Xbox controller, and boop, it reads it. It still didn't do it for that. So I was like, wait, something's really wrong here. Went into settings. Oh, I don't have controller set up for it. So I put on the Xbox, put on the PlayStation. It worked like a charm. So that was first step. Restarted the game because I'm like, oh, I can't do it with it thinking it's an arcade stick, and it was awesome. It was smooth. There's a lot. I watched Star Wars Explained. Alex from Star Wars Explained. He has done a lot of videos, and Ed Ark's Ladder. He has a lot of videos as well that kind of goes and gives you a lot of tips on how to fly the X-wings, tips on how to maneuver, like how to like let go of the engines and do like a what do you call it? Oh man, forgot the phrase he used. But it's essentially drifting.
Oh yeah, that's something they actually teach you in the game.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I've only played the opening of it, and I've played like the first level, and that's it. So
yeah, I think it's like the next mission where they teach you that. It's okay. Cool. It's one of those things that's fun as hell, and I can see a lot of people wanting to do it, but I don't think it's a real effective tactic.
Okay.
It's that thing of like, it's neat and it's cool, but I think at least in a multiplayer setting, I don't think it's going to be real advantageous.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, that's where one of the biggest tips and it's funny you bring up that you're playing the single player. He said is play the single player. It teaches you everything.
Yeah.
And one of the other tips was the drifting works. He goes, never duel, never sit there and duel with someone. They'll kill you every time.
Yeah.
But when you're playing with other people, you have to drift. You have to keep moving. You have to change your direction as fast as you can to get away from somebody.
Yeah.
It was really cool to watch. I haven't seen Star Wars explained in a while. Just for whatever reason, there just hasn't been that much Star Wars news. And it was kind of cool to sit, and watch that while I was on break or whatnot. But yeah, dude, we should totally play a few rounds at some point this week. Just let me know.
Yeah.
Even if we just hop in and play with strangers, we can hop on Discord or something while we do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's because that's one thing I've noticed, even just playing the single player. If you get somebody behind you, you got to move. Like
yes.
And it is tough to shake people. It's tough. It's really tough, but I'm enjoying it. It's not tough on the level of like a Souls game tough, where it's like, oh my god, this thing destroys your soul. It's really just more like I'm not used to something that plays in this style kind of tough. It's like it's just like having to learn a new. It's not just having to learn a new skill or a new style. It's you're also, at least for me anyway, I'm fighting against my instincts from any of the other flight games I've played, because they're all a little similar in some way, especially like I said, the Ace Combat games. They all have their own, like they have a very specific kind of style in the way that they work, and this is not that. Right. So I have to if I may, I must unlearn what I have learned and go from there. Like it's tough, man, but I'm enjoying it. I really am. Yeah,
I'm going to be diving more into that over the next couple of weeks. I'd love to eventually try this in VR at someday down the road.
So would I, because it's set up perfectly for it. They knew exactly what the hell they were doing with this.
Oh yeah. Yep. Well, cool, man. All right. Well, let's get into it, dude. So, what's been going on this week?
Today's just been a crap day for music, man. We had Johnny Nash, who a lot of people only know because he sang "I Can See Clearly Now." Everybody around the planet knows that song.
Everyone knows that, yeah.
He passed away today. I think he was 80. I think it said, but a big I didn't see a lot of, and again, that was the only way that I knew him. But taking a look at some more of his biography, he at some point ran a label that, at least early on, it read like had signed Bob Marley, and had at least something to do with helping him get his music out. But I want to read more about that, because that's just fascinating, and how many it's interesting, and also kind of sad that we have a ton of one-hit wonders. There's all kinds of them, but what's the rest of their story? And right. that's something I really want to look into, because that little blurb that I saw, I was like, oh, well, that's really interesting, and I would I need to read more about that. But he passed away at 80. And this one hurt me, because I used to try to play guitar. It's never gone well, but Eddie Van Halen, and 65 after what I saw was a long battle with lung cancer, and that just sucks, man. 65 is not that old, not really, and just the impact, the massive impact that he had on so many. Find me anybody who plays guitar in any sort of popular music in particular. I can't speak to classical guitarists, but anybody who plays guitar in country, rock, you name it, and there is no way they weren't in some way influenced by Eddie and his style. It was its own thing. It set them apart. You had at the same time, you had like that kind of that kind of chug that Sabbath had back in the day. You know, you could tell from what Zakk Wylde played and that guitar, his style. Like, it was a very it was a darker, heavier metal style. And, you know, you had guys like Jimmy Page on the other side of things with Zeppelin, and it was a little more, it had a little more air to it. It sort of wandered a little more. But Eddie, man, Eddie's was just driving rock. I mean, everybody knows that, you know, you put up that guitar, that famous just splashed red guitar with all those different colors, and that was an embodiment of his style in that sense. It was just whatever the hell he wanted it to be. And just there was it just sucks. It really just sucks. But it was, so there's, you know, it's a massive legacy that he leaves behind, not just with the group, but his style was a major influence.
Yeah.
And just like I said, man, just 65. I mean, that just I hate cancer. I hate it.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, man.
But so, you know, pour one out for a bad day for music. Just not fun. But the good news is that they, you know, they may be gone, but music is forever. You know.
Oh yeah.
That the music never dies. There's going to be, you know, especially with digital music now, music endures. So we still have the work to go back to and to continue to be inspired by. That's, you know, that's something else. Eddie's style is not just, it doesn't just end with people now. You know, 40 years from now, people are still going to be listening to Van Halen and hearing him play and just going, man, I want to do that. Like, that sounds cool. I want to do that. Like, it's...
Yeah, I saw someone share something that said, if art is how we decorate our space, music is how we decorate time.
I like that. That. And I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, it's true. God.
I like that. Music is how we decorate time. I really like that.
Yeah,
that's really
it's so
cool.
true.
Yeah,
it's so true.
There's, you know, I mean, we talk about movies and everything, and every bit of pop culture, of creativity, it captures a moment or a movement or an era, but music has such a quicker turnaround. You know, TV shows can take months or years, and develop, movies in particular, you know, can sometimes take years. But there's nothing that captures a moment. You can sit and write a song and record it and have it, especially now.
Right.
You know, it can be out immediately. It can just be it's here's something that happened, here's a thought, write it down, record it, it's done.
Yeah, I mean, you can name bands like the Beatles and how many different emotions and things go into that, what someone thinks about, that change not just music, but culture.
Yeah.
And the time and the journey they went through in the short period of time that they were an actual band. Like, yeah,
that's something that's crazy. The Beatles were not like some 30-year odyssey.
Oh no, they were 10 years, if that.
Maybe from start to finish. Maybe back when they were the Quarrymen still. But...
Right, and it was such a shift in culture, and they mostly drove it, right? Like the impact that they had not only on how the music industry, on how things were recorded and how things sound. You know, I think I saw somewhere where someone said, like, there was a time before the Beatles for music, and then there was a time after the Beatles for music.
And I mean, that's fair. There was nothing like them. You know, you could say, you know, you could argue something similar with Elvis.
Yeah.
But there aren't too many groups or people that have that kind of impact.
And even if you're not into them, even if it's not your thing, right? It's like, if there's something you like now that was made after them, odds are they were influenced it with the way it was recorded, the way it sounds, just everything.
Oh yeah.
So it's just, yeah, that's a fascinating thing to go down the rabbit hole with music. and just what effect it has on things. I mean, it changes everything. Like, we've talked about this numerous times on the podcast, but how music saved Star Wars, for one.
Yeah.
It changed that movie from, the first people he showed it to were like, what is this, George? But when you have that John Williams score, I mean, my God, that it would have been such a completely different thing if it did not have that.
Yeah. And I mean, think of episode 1, for all the hate that it gets and arguably deserves in some respects. The 3 coolest things about that are Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn, and the Duel of the Fates piece.
Oh yeah,
no question.
A buddy of mine has a shout out to Will. He's got a sweater with George. No, it's John Williams' face on it, and it says, "Have you thanked John Williams today for the Duel of Fates?" It's so good.
I can't argue with that, man. I really can't. I like it.
Shout out to Will. Yeah, it's so good. And it's so true. Yeah, you can say what you want about episode 1, about all the faults that it has, but there's not one person that will complain about the music, because the music from the prequels in general, I absolutely love.
Yeah.
The score in the second one, the love score, I love that. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Music changes everything. Jaws wouldn't be what it is. There's so many things when you think about music, it changes. But yeah, I don't know. It's wild. It's sad times. 2020. God, we need to get to next year already.
Yeah.
Get to next year, right around February.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want the theaters to open again. I want to be able to, like, feel normal going and doing that.
Yeah, I saw, what was it? I saw somebody say, just some random Twitter post, I can't remember who it was. It was basically just, I would love to go to bed reading a book instead of doom scrolling Twitter all night.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm like, that's fair, and it's sad, but it's fair.
Yes, I mean, South Park had a special over the week. I don't know if you caught it.
No, I knew it was on, but because I'm not a big South Park guy.
I haven't seen South Park in forever.
Yeah.
But it was dead on. It was basically just commentary about, long story short, Randy came out with a strain of his weed that he sells called the Pandemic Special. And they were telling him how it's not the time to do something like that. And he's like, well, people want it. Like, they want to get their minds off things. I'm not the bad guy. So it's just a commentary on, I imagine the people at South Park were being just bombarded with, hey, why aren't you doing anything about 2020? Like, why aren't you making any where's your show at? We need something to laugh at. And they're like, it's like, it's too serious right now.
Yeah.
To even joke about it. Like, let's wait until it's past. But it's South Park. The whole episode was goofy and silly, and it goes after everybody essentially. And at the very end, I kind of want to spoil one part. I don't know. I kind of want to spoil one part. But it was funny. I haven't seen it in years, and I was like, okay, that was good. I got to laugh off. But it's like, there's parts of it where it's super serious. Like, it's like, this shit is bad, and we shouldn't be making jokes about this. But I'll leave the listener up to go watch it. Maybe I'll tell you after the show how it ends. But it's kind of like, oh, yep, didn't see that ending any other way than that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, kind of like how, did you see SNL with Jim Carrey?
I didn't, but I wanted to, just because I saw they had Baldwin Trump and Biden Carey, and I was like, that had to be some kind of magic. Like, that just must have been amazing.
Oh yeah, and I forgot who played Harris. The actress.
It's Tiffany Haddish, right?
Yes, yeah. She nailed it. I have a feeling she's been playing her for a while. I have a feeling Jim Carrey's gonna be. He nailed Biden to a T.
Just seeing the stills from it, and you see that, and you're just like, oh, okay. I imagine if I'm watching it, and I watch the real debate side by side, I would probably wonder which one was which. Really?
Right. Oh yeah. And I'll spoil one part of that. The second he takes out a remote control and hits the mute, I'm just like, yes, thank God. It is so good, man. It is so good. I miss Jim Carrey, like,
Yeah.
and he was just firing on all cylinders. Jim Carrey.
Jim, I mean, Jim's been well. I mean, he's been doing his artwork and sharing that on Twitter for a while. So I imagine SNL, because I mean, he was on In Living Color for a while.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he cut his TV teeth on this kind of deal. So him being on SNL, I imagine that was almost just kind of like, okay, Jim, there's the camera, go. Like,
yes, yeah, and I know, he's talked about that too. I know this last 4 years have affected a lot of people's mental health, creative people, because it's hard to like, it's okay to like, I feel like comedic people, they had a lot of traumatic shit happen to them, right? Like they're able to joke about it after the fact, right?
Right.
I feel like they're all kind of holding their breath right now because they want to get past it so that they can just go all out.
Yeah, because how do you joke about it when it's still happening?
It's still happening, yes. And there's no one actively trying to make things better. Well, there's doctors and stuff like that, but you know what I mean. There's like people actively fighting against it for some reason.
Right, so. And then it's just kind of like, so what does, and I think it's also part of. It's I don't know if it's a reflection or a symptom of just they're not being entertainment right now.
Right, and I know people like Patrick Rothfuss has openly talked about how the state of the world has totally affected his mental state, and it's more important that he takes care of his children. He works on his books, right? But that's not the priority. The priority is his mental health, his family, and even if that takes a little bit longer. But I guess I meant to mention that before, but I've seen a lot of creative people talk about how it's just not a good time right now.
Yeah, and I get it, and I absolutely understand it.
Yeah, and he also was very mad at Brandon Sanderson for how much he writes. He said, I saw a thing where he talked about, he's like, him and Brandon are good friends. They're friendly. They have dinners together whenever they happen to be at the same conventions. And he said he was eating something and looked over him and he was like, could you just slow down a little bit? He discovered, because Brandon said, I am a compulsive writer. And to Patrick Rothfuss, he goes, oh my God, that makes sense, because I'm a compulsive rewriter. Like Patrick Rothfuss will have to completely rewrite a chapter or a story 700 times before he feels it's right.
Yeah.
Where Brandon Sanderson doesn't have that issue, but he has the compulsive issue where he has to keep writing. He just can't stop. It is literally, he wakes up and he works for 8 hours a day writing, and then he puts the pen down. Where some writers don't necessarily do that. They might take a little bit of time to think and write and whatever. So I don't know, it was a funny little interview thing that he was talking about him and Brandon Rothfuss's relationship, and just, he was like, can you slow down just a little bit? Oh, he also said, wouldn't it be weird if me and him somehow got in some sort of Power Rangers bot and we both got each other's abilities?
Oh, God.
What kind of monster that would create.
Oh, hell.
So, yeah, I don't know. I like seeing these writers kind of have friendly discourse with each other. Yeah, because... Oh, yeah, but...
Yeah, stuff like that's always fun, especially when you have authors that have a sense of humor about it.
Mm-hmm.
You can go completely the other way with it, but I always think that the king of kings really of that kind of thing were Neil Gaiman and Terry Goodkind.
Absolutely,
they were fantastic. Neil especially. Neil is one of the most humble people on the planet, and he's still one of the most prolific and just fantastic writers. Anybody, if you haven't read Good Omens, the show is great, but the book is amazing, and that's him and Terry.
Did we talk about that on the last podcast?
About
Terry Goodkind?
No, we hadn't.
Oh yeah, he's passed away. I don't know if you.
Oh yeah, no, he's
September. Okay.
Yeah.
It's sad.
But I remember there was something. I'm really trying to remember. There was a story that Neil shared. I don't know if it was on Twitter, if it was in an interview, and it was just one of those things you looked at and you were and as much as you laughed at it, you also kind of felt like you missed out by not being friends with these guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Speaking of books, I picked up Paulini's Christopher Paulini's To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, which is he's the one who did what's that dragon book?
Aragon. That whole series. Which the books, don't let the movie fool you. The book is actually pretty good.
I haven't seen the movie or read the books.
Don't. The movie is basically like somebody said, "Hey, what if we mixed Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and Dungeons and Dragons badly?" Like
okay.
It's just a ripoff. But the book and it does it. He wrote it when he was 15, and you can tell. Mm-hmm. But it's not bad. You read it and you're like, okay, this actually, like, I wish I'd written something like that when I was 15. I wish I'd written something like that now.
Right.
But as the series went on, I've only read the first 2. There's 4 in the Inheritance cycle. They get better as they go. Like, as he matures as a writer, you can really see it, and he really progresses. So the books are worth it. The movie is but
yeah, his new one looked like basically I saw Daniel Green's review, which by the way I love his YouTube videos. He actually interviewed him a couple months ago about it and stuff like that, and I don't know, it seemed like a very beginner friendly sci-fi series that he's writing now, and it's massive. It's essentially like 2 of his normal books smashed together. I forget the page count, but it's big. So I picked that up. I don't know. I'm going to be reading that at some point in time soon. I'm sure at some point I'll want to give Warcraft a little bit of break, but yeah. So I'm gonna be jumping into that soon. So
and before anybody listening jumps on my head, I know I confused Terry Goodkind and Terry Pratchett. Terry Pratchett was the one who wrote Good Omens with Neil Gaiman. I get him and Terry Goodkind confused, and I don't know why, but I do.
Terry, I guess. It's the name.
I guess, but it's just I do that all the time. I did know who I knew who I meant, but the more I talked, I was like, that doesn't sound right.
Right.
It doesn't sound right, and so it took me a minute. And I was like, no, that isn't right. It's Terry Pratchett. But anyway, that fixes that.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I'm gonna be excited jumping into that. I've been into a lot of sci-fi recently because of The Expanse. That's another series I kind of want to pick up, even though I heard like the books are exactly like the show. So I don't know how much fun I'd have reading the books and just knowing the show.
Yeah.
I feel like with Game of Thrones, there's so much more. And I asked my buddy who's read all of The Song of Ice and Fire and seen the show, all of the Expanse series, which I think there's like one more coming out. And he's like, it's not really the same because they put everything in the show. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get into it, man. So we have a ton of delays, right?
Yeah, we got a bunch of news about delays that came out this week. We talked about they moved No Time to Die from essentially Thanksgiving this year to April 2nd of next year. That bumped Fast 9 or F9 or F This Franchise Will Never End from April 2nd to May 28th, 2021. Jurassic World Dominion was going to come out next June. It was going to come out June 11th next year. It's going to come out June 10th of 2022.
Did you see the poster?
I did. It's neat. I like it. I like the simplicity of it. It's very... It harkens back to the original where it's just the logo, but in amber this time. I like that. Yeah. That's a nice touch.
Smart. That's the first thing you see in the first movie. I think that was cool.
Yeah. We mentioned Dune. Dune was going to come out around Christmas this year. It got bumped to next October. Coming out October 1st, which, coming from Warner Brothers, was weird because The Batman was also scheduled for next October 1st. It's been moved to March 4th, 2022.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, big leap. But they moved, interestingly though, they moved the Matrix 4 up from April 1st, 2022 to December 22nd, 2021. Which I thought was strange, but okay. It's going to come out next Christmas. But and then they took Black Adam and Minecraft off the schedule entirely, at least for the time being. They moved The Flash and Shazam, but that's like 3 years from now, so I didn't put them on here.
Right.
Yeah, I think I think both of them were scheduled 2022, and they got bumped to 2023 or something like that. But I'll believe in the Flash movie when it actually happens.
Yeah.
Because there have been so many problems with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, next year is going to be stacked if all these movies come out when they're supposed to. I think there's something like a dozen different, like there's one every month, like giant tentpole kind of title.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens next year. We have to finish getting through this year, but I don't know, man. Stuff might come out around Christmas. That's really it's just Wonder Woman. Like that's it. Everything else has moved. West Side Story got bumped a year. It was supposed to come out this Christmas. It's coming out next Christmas. The one that bums me out the most was In the Heights, because I was so excited about In the Heights. But that's not coming out till next summer, maybe. But we'll see. But yeah, that was supposed to be out, I think, either in June or July. And then it got bumped a year. I was like, that sucks. But
yeah,
but I get it. But yeah, next year is going to be pretty well packed if everything holds, which I doubt, to be honest. I think the stuff in like everything that's going to come out before the summer, everything before Black Widow, I think is probably going to get moved a little bit still.
Oh wow!
Honestly,
yeah, until they have some sort of thing to make people feel better about going to the theater. Like I said, unless there's some sort of I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think what, besides getting the vaccine, what could make people feel comfortable? How could they turn this around?
I mean, unless you plexiglass in every other seat, but that's...
Yeah, who's going to...
Right, first off, that's going to be a pain in the ass to clean.
Yeah.
But it's also not, you don't want that. You
don't want
that. And I get it. The idea of going to the movies is to go to the movies. And if people don't feel comfortable going to the movies, then you don't really have an industry.
Right. And that's the thing is people already before COVID, people were like, hey, I have a big ass screen in my house. I have surround sound. I have a pretty good viewing experience. So the theater was already losing people to that alone.
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's just, what can you do? There's nothing you can do. I don't know. They need to get bought out or not bought out, but they need to get bailed out somehow.
Yeah, there's gonna have to be. There's
Yeah.
just gonna have to be, but and in the meantime, I'm sure they'll keep running, all 6 Rocky movies on a loop or whatever it is they're re-airing or what have you. But it's gonna be like this next year entirely. I'd love to see, like, this time next year, where are we? How many locations have closed? How many people are laid off? How many movies still haven't come out?
Right.
Like, what's, like, a year from now? I really want to see what's happened. Like, what's the holiday season 2021 actually going to shake out like? Because I don't think next year's dates are set in stone. I don't. But we'll see, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I completely agree. I don't see a way out of this.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough, and it's gonna suck, and it's gonna be like this for a while. It will take the movie theater industry a long time to bounce back. This isn't gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna happen in a year. It's gonna take 2 or 3 years to get back to, I say normal in quotes, but
yeah. Well, hopefully sometime next year our government will get their shit together and some sort of bailout will happen, because it has to at this point.
Yeah.
There's too many people without a job. There's too many people. This would affect. I mean,
with Regal closing down again, that affects, I think, what is it, 40,000 people?
Yeah.
Like, that's nothing to sneeze at, man.
Not just the movie theaters. It's the Hollywood in general. Like, that whole industry will crash.
Yeah. Like, if maybe you make the content, but if you're not, movie theaters need movies as much as movies need movie theaters. Studios can't live on streaming services and digital sales alone. They can't. They're
right.
For there to be movies, there need to be movie theaters.
Right.
There just have to be. Disney Plus and Netflix and what have you are viable only for so much and for so long.
Right.
The Avengers, the MCU doesn't happen on Disney Plus.
Exactly.
It doesn't. The shows will, and the shows will be neat, but they're a whole different thing. You don't get Endgame on your tablet.
Right.
If that's the biggest screen that they're aiming for, or some people have great home entertainment systems, and you're right, but that's still not the same.
Right. It's not.
And it damn sure doesn't make, $3 billion that way.
Right. Right.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting. TV will be fine. TV will be fine because TV is always going to be TV. But movies are going to be, we come back in a year and see what's what. It's really going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think people are going to be like, hey, I hear it from my family, because usually they come to me like, hey, what's a good movie out? They're like, Adam, there's nothing.
Nope.
Like, they're like, I miss the big summer blockbusters. I miss the gangster films. I miss the big action movies, the big they're like, I'm looking through Amazon and it's a ghost town or it's hit or miss. They're like, some of my family said they rented some, oh God, who was in the movie? I forget what the actor was, but
what were the movies? I might be able to help.
I'm trying to think of what he said. I forget if it was a Stallone movie. No, it wasn't Stallone.
But so.
I forget what the actor was, but he said it was totally a garbage movie. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what, that's par for the course with those old actors that are still around making movies that go directly to, on demand.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, straight to the interesting.
Bruce Willis. That's who it was.
Oh,
I was trying to think of I'm like, come on. Who was it again? I was like, it wasn't Stallone. It was Bruce Willis. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Well, he's making like garbage movies right now.
Bruce Willis has been making garbage movies for a while, but
yeah,
it's what happens.
I guess what I mean is, to the average Joe that's a little bit older, they don't know that. They're just like, oh, that's Bruce Willis. It's got, this should be interesting.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh no, it's not. It's terrible.
It's trash, right? Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. Next year is just so weird, because if you look at just looking at a brief rundown, Variety's got a great thing of like, here's everything for the next year and a half, in a sense. Starting next year, March 2021, is Morbius. May is Black Widow. June is Venom. July is Shang-Chi. August is The Suicide Squad. November is The Eternals. December is supposed to be whatever the third Sony Spider-Man movie is. February of 2022 is Thor: Love and Thunder. March, The Batman. Also March 2022 is Doctor Strange 2. They're saying May might be Black Panther 2. I think that's what's penciled in, but that's definitely going to change. And then July of 2022 is the Captain Marvel sequel. So, I mean, that's, that year and a bit. I mean, that's pretty packed. But I think that changes. I think everything before I think Morbius moves again. I really do. I think Morbius moves to October because there's nothing coming out in October that I'm looking at. I think Morbius gets bumped 7 months. I really do. And it's going to suck, but I think it'll be better off for it. Put it early in October, you don't, or even just like right at the beginning, because you've got the Suicide Squad in August, and then you've got September and October wide open. And I get why. Back to school is never a good time for a movie. September is a dead zone for movies. I get that. But start off October, middle of October with Morbius. I think that sells. I think that absolutely sells.
Oh yeah.
But, and I know there's a Halloween movie in there somewhere too, but this was just looking at superhero movies. Mm-hmm. But I think you can drop Morbius like the second week of October, and let that ride until you get to Eternals. I think you can get you get a solid 3 weeks out of Morbius easy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't even think about it. Like, Marvel is in not a weird time, but they're more in like a little bit more of they're doing different things. I feel like they're moving in a little bit of a different direction where they're not going to be so reliant on their big heroes like Captain America and I guess Thor's going to be there, but not Iron Man. They're going with like newer characters, and when I say newer, I mean to like the world, the general audience, right? They've never seen these heroes before, right?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be an interesting time. I'm curious how my friends are gonna react when they go see some of these movies with the characters they just haven't seen before. Same goes for the TV. Like, they don't know Moon Knight, they don't know Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel. I mean, there's a lot of these characters they just don't know about. I'm curious if it's going to have the same effect that like Iron Man had, where they didn't really know Iron Man, but they knew Iron Man after the movie.
Right.
So I'm curious how these hit. It's such a weird time to see that, not only that shift happen, but now we have the shift in how are we going to get people in the theater to see these. And I think those are going to be the movies that do it, if anything.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So we got to have those soon. Yeah, man, I'm looking at this. Black Adam's just been removed.
Yeah, that and the Minecraft movie they've been working on, they just took them off the schedule entirely, which is basically their way of saying, look, we don't know. We're going to make them and see.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think Black Adam's probably the best one, after Wonder Woman that's going to be coming out. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
But we'll see, I guess. Real fast, I'll mention did you see the Minecraft news this week?
Oh, that Steve is the next.
Steve's in Smash Bros. Yeah.
God.
Like when Kirby swallows him, he turns into a brick, or a cube.
Yeah.
Little stupid things like that. I love that kind of stuff because it just shows you're seeing Nintendo, you're seeing Microsoft in the same game. And even though Minecraft has been on everything, I think it's still so cool that they play with each other well.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. I kind of got the feeling, we all know Metal Gear was on Nintendo, right? But like that's a Sony franchise in my head.
Yeah.
I
know it's been, especially like 5 and everything is on Xbox and what have you, but it's it's linked with PlayStation.
Yes, exactly. Like any of the Final Fantasy VII characters, I think of PlayStation. So,
right.
So when I see it on a Nintendo console, I'm like, this is cool. Like, I'm glad that Microsoft is playing along, and I have hopes for their relationship in the future. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. I haven't played Smash in a minute, but man, they just keep adding them.
Yeah. But still no Goku.
Yep, still no Goku. That's the one I wanted. Maybe they hold for last.
I told you it'll never happen.
I know.
It will never happen. I would love for it to. I want you to be right. I really do, but it's never gonna happen.
That's the only holdout at this point. There's literally no one else. Everything is such a surprise now.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like everybody's been saying, well, who else is going to get on it?
Maybe
We can't
Crash?
think of anything. And then you get Steve from Minecraft, and it's like, oh, we never thought of that.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is like Crash Bandicoot.
And that I don't think you're going to see because it's but it's not really exclusive.
It's Activision.
Though, is it?
It's on the Switch. It is a character on a Nintendo console.
I would
that
not
is
be
the
surprised.
only requirement.
That would not surprise me, honestly.
Yeah. That's it. That's really the only other, because then you have Mario. You'd
have Mario, Sonic, and Crash. Like, I mean, there's
Mario,
your three.
Sonic, Crash. Yep. I guess the only other one would be like Master Chief. Really, if you really wanted to, that would be the biggest Microsoft icon to put on there.
Right.
Honestly. Even though Steve's probably bigger just because of how big Minecraft is, but yes, that's the other thing is like Steve is for not our generation; it's for the younger kids.
Oh no, yeah, totally.
Know who he is, yeah.
Oh
so
yeah. No,
in their eyes, that's like getting the biggest character in the world on there. So,
yeah.
If you got Master Chief somehow in there, like that's it. That's the best Smash Bros that has ever will be.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I accidentally have the character pass thing too, so
I love that I accidentally have the character pass.
Yeah, one of my friends' kids was messing with it and accidentally bought it, and I can't be mad. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have this now. And so yeah, I have the character pass. I haven't booted it up or anything. They play it all the time, but
yeah. God, I can't remember the last time I played Smash. I don't think they had started releasing the DLC characters yet.
Yeah. Smash is one of those, like, if you don't have a bunch of guy roommates or girls or, what I mean, a bunch of roommates. I say that because that's when I really played Smash. It was when I lived with my two roommates, and they were in college, and that's all we did, right? We would play Wii Bowling and Smash. But if you don't have like a bunch of roommates around your age that are I feel like that's the perfect age to play Smash. Or you're a kid and you're playing with your brothers and sisters, right?
Right. I mean, couch co-op.
Yeah, exactly.
Or couch competition or whatever. That kind of. Yeah. That's what it's made for.
Right. And if you're a little bit older and you're the only one that plays video games in your house, it's not the same. You're not going to get the same experience.
No.
So yeah, I think. So I get that. That's the feeling I get when I play it. I'm like, well, this would be cool if I had like 2-3 other people here to play it with that would really want to play it with. The only time I get to play with someone usually like that is like Mario Kart for some reason.
Yeah.
That one's easier for someone to pick up and understand what's going on, because the Smash is just a bunch of characters going bananas on the screen, literally. But yeah. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to derail it there. But yeah, Minecraft and Black Adam moved from the schedule.
Yeah, but yeah, so they'll come out whenever they come out. Warner Brothers is having to look at all manner of stuff right now, so as is everybody else. But
right.
I'm just curious who's going to get this Slinky movie.
I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, no, not a joke. Real thing that's happening. Tamara Davis, who did Billy Madison and Half Baked, is doing a movie based on the Slinky. It's going to be Slinky, of course, was created by a guy named Richard James, really by accident. It was one of those things. He was some kind of engineer or mechanic or whatever, and I want to say it was like a naval engineer or something. It was something that was actually like, oh, this happened here? Really? Well, that's odd. And just happened to notice that, like, hey, the spring that he was working with fell down and, like, rolled over itself down a stack. I think it was like a stack of books or something. And for some reason, that captivated him. And so he fine-tuned it and eventually invented the Slinky and started the company. And then he and his wife divorced, and he took off to be a missionary in Bolivia. And left her to run the company and take care of, I think they had like 7 kids. Just like, bye, here you go.
So is this a movie about the creation of the Slinky and like the life story?
Basically, it's going to focus more on her, really.
Oh,
and how
actually, I'm interested.
Yeah, it's more like how, there'll be the, hey, this is how Slinky got started, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then this is where we join, her name was Betty.
Okay.
And when she took over the company in, I think, 1960. Okay. I did like very quick search on this because I was like, what? Like, okay, I know nothing about the creation of the Slinky. Like, which right there is like, okay, well, I'm kind of interested in this movie because you're like, they made it about the Slinky. It's like, yeah, okay. You don't really know that much about the Slinky, honestly.
Wow. I can't read. I saw this and it was like, it's a movie about Slinky, but not a Toy Story Slinky spinoff. Yeah, and then it said Woody, and I was like, is this a Woody Allen movie? No, not a Woody Allen movie about Slinky. That would be interesting. But yeah, dude, this actually does sound kind of cool. I love that stuff. I love hey, this is the history of something you just don't know about.
Yeah, and she ran this company for, I think, almost 40 years. I think she ran it from 1960 until like 98.
Oh my God.
And she was, this was a company that consistently made bank, and she was in charge. And I mean, we're talking 60s and 70s, a woman in charge of a major corporation.
Right. Oh yeah. That's crazy.
That's, so this, I'm excited about this. I think it'll actually be really interesting.
Yeah.
But, It's weird. There, Slinky Dog will be in it because that was a thing that they made, but but not in that way.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That'll be interesting. In other weird news, remember Jamie Foxx's Electro from The Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Yes.
Okay. Apparently, he's going to be in the next Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I saw this. I mean, I guess this confirms that they might be doing a Spider-Verse or setting it up.
It worked really well animated. I don't hate it. Because I think they can do it right. I genuinely believe they would know how to do it right. And I think that it's going to have, I think WandaVision is really going to screw up the MCU. In a good way. I don't mean like it's going to ruin everything. I mean, it's going to blow doors wide open.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see, we know because we've been told constantly it's going to serve almost as a prequel to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But I think it's really going to kick doors open, and it's going to reset things and change things and really just I think the idea of seeing all of the 3 movie Spider-Men on screen is not so crazy anymore. I really don't. I really think we see them.
No. And maybe even Miles too.
I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I did not like Jamie Foxx as Electro. This, I guess, would be his second chance to change my mind, I guess. Or I guess it would be second chance. But you know what I mean? This would change. Hopefully he does a great job. This would be a great opportunity to do something different.
Yeah.
Hopefully they do something different.
Because I liked him in that role. And I didn't
He was the Riddler from Batman Forever. I just don't want them to do that again.
I think that's too harsh.
Tell me he's not the Riddler character.
No, because
he's exactly the same character.
No.
He goes from. It's the same story that happens to him that happens to the Riddler, and then he just goes off the walls for no reason.
Yeah, but in a totally different way, and that's kind of what I mean, though, in that I liked the casting, but I didn't like the writing.
That's what I mean. No.
Yeah.
Okay, don't get me wrong. I love Jim Carrey, and how do I say this? When I was a kid, I loved Batman Forever. I was a perfect age for that,
it's
right?
Fun when you're 6.
Oh, this is cool, right? When you're older, you're like, oh God, this what were they What were they thinking?
Yeah.
it wouldn't work in 2022, I guess is when it would come out. I'd rather see Jamie Foxx, which we all know is a fantastic actor, an amazing actor with depth, and he can be funny. Like, there's all sorts of things he can do. Don't do what they did again, I guess is what I'm saying. So I think we're exactly on the same page. Yeah. We like the casting 100%, but what they did with him, it didn't fit right at all. And that was like one of a million problems with that movie, even though I really liked Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker. And the relationship there that he had with Gwen, I just didn't like everything else.
Yeah, no. Amazing Spider-Man 2 was almost like they knew they weren't going to be making a third.
Yeah.
It really did feel like that, which was sad because there was so much. I loved The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes.
Hands down, one of my favorite of any of the Spider-Man movies. No question. Yes, it has its issues, but I mean, I just it bums me out that Andrew Garfield didn't get to do more.
Wow. Because
he was so he was so good. He was so good. But those, man, this could be really interesting. It could also be really bad. But I think they know well enough to do it right. They saw how it worked in Spider-Verse as a standalone kind of thing. Because the Into the Spider-Verse is not, it's canon without needing to be canon. It is, but it also it exists in the same it exists in the same canon but not in the same universe because it didn't touch the mainstream.
Right.
But I feel like they can use that as a way of saying, okay, what worked in this and why? And then how did they fold that into whatever the hell else is going on? But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with this. And if this even turns out to be a thing, who knows?
Yeah.
But if he actually does show up, man, it's going to raise a lot of questions about J.K. Simmons.
Yeah,
like,
is
there just one J. Jonah Jameson across? Like, is he the one constant across every Marvel universe? Which I kind of think would be fantastic.
Oh yeah.
The idea that JJ is just J.K. Simmons everywhere. Like, it's just him. Because I don't hate that. I really think that's the only thing. You get like 1,000 different Spider-Men together, and they're just like, yeah, that's Jonah.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds exactly like him. Looks exactly like. It is him. What's he doing here?
Right, exactly.
This isn't my Earth. Why is he here? I'm from the future, and it's still the same guy. What the hell?
Right. That was the perfect ending. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Cool, man. So what else we got going on?
So we have there is a Borat sequel. Sacha Baron Cohen, it turns out, went ahead and made Borat 2. Yeah. We'll get to this. I'm winding up for this title. It's going to be a direct to Amazon movie. It's going to be on Amazon Prime coming October 23rd. And it is called The Borat Subsequent Movie Film: Delivery of Prodigious Bribe to American Regime for Make Benefit Once Glorious Nation of Kazakhstan. I got it in one. I really thought I was going to need like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But this is going to be really interesting. Just because Borat was such a thing of its time. And I don't know if that works twice.
I think Sacha Baron Cohen is the smartest comedian still alive.
I don't entirely disagree with that. I really don't.
I went back and rewatched some of the Ali G over the last week. While I was working, I shouldn't have been doing that. But I'll say while I was on break. And it is still so goddamn. It's so funny.
Yeah.
When he gets in his Ali G character and he sets these people up so well because they think he's stupid, right? They're like, oh God, this guy, he has no idea, and he just sets them up so well, and he puts them in the most uncomfortable positions, and there might be a shred of truth to some of the things he's saying, and it just completely catches them off guard. Oh, he goes to abortion rallies, he goes to police academies, and not even just the Ali G character, but he'll do Borat, of course. And he has that other character, Bruno, right?
Yeah.
And it completely throws everybody off. And I saw some interviews too where he was talking about what he'll do is before the camera starts rolling, he was talking to a politician, an American politician, and he was acting like, hey, yo, where do we go here? I'm about to go to the United States soon, and I'd like to check. And they're like, you're in the United States. He goes, I thought I was in America. He throws them off to go, oh, this guy's an idiot, and then they film.
Yeah.
And so they're just, the whole time, they're just, like, annoyed. And it's brilliant, because he gets them every time. I think you're right, though, that everyone knows Borat, so how do you make a film like that? Somehow he does. Somehow he was able to film this. I think it's been enough time away that some people don't know who Borat is.
Fair. Never
seen the movies because they're young. And he has just spent so much time away from that character, but it's the perfect time to do it. Like, right, it's the perfect time to release it right before election. The show they had Mike Pence in the movie. Like, I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see what's in this film.
Yeah, but because the first one was in 2006, so it's been 14 years.
Right, exactly. So I am waiting for this is my kind of comedy. It can be super cringy. Like, I hate when he goes a little bit overboard, but my favorite was The Show. When he nails them every time. Or he'll just ask the most ridiculous questions, and they just don't know how to handle him. They don't know how to respond, and they end up looking stupid in the process. Every once in a while, someone will kind of be like, yeah, well, like, they'll go along with it. And it just, oh man, have you seen his show, What is America, on Showtime?
No. I had heard about
to see that. Yeah, I forgot who the politician was. I think it was like Atlanta that resigned after that show came out.
Yeah, I think that was when I heard about it, because he just got absolutely stone cold slaughtered over.
Oh yeah,
like whatever stupid thing he got caught on tape.
Racial slurs. He said some stuff towards the gay community. Like the thing is the Borat character, or the character he was portraying, was a militant, far right. I forgot what country he was from, but he gets them real comfortable, right? He gets them real comfortable to say whatever they want, and he kind of gives them enough rope to hang themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And all of the nasty things that you think about when you think these politicians think about or what they believe, it just, like I said, he just gives them enough rope, and then it spills out. And it's like they don't even like they know they're being filmed. Like, it's so clear as day but maybe they don't think it would be played here in the United States. Maybe whatever country his character was from, I forgot what country it was from, somewhere in Europe. But it was like a far right, like extremists. Like, this is how we take care of the terrorists in our country. I forgot what it was. He plays a bunch of characters in that show, so I'm mixing them up in my head. But anyway, it's brilliant. It's so good. And he gets a lot of politicians on that show. I even think he has Bernie Sanders on at one point. He's got a lot of them. So it's great. You need to see that. If you need to go on after the show, you have to see What is America. I'm sure you can find it on the internet. It's exactly what his Borat show is, just with new characters. And they're great. But sorry, I know I'm I'm getting all excited about a movie you said that was of its time, but man, it's that I love Sacha Baron Cohen. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah. No, I mean that's fair. And I mean the thing that people forget, this dude graduated from Cambridge. All right, like,
this is a smart
as hell guy. He wrote his like undergrad what I don't want to say thesis, because I don't think it was a thesis, but basically that the undergrad version of that on the American Civil Rights Movement. Like, this is somebody who knows what he's talking about.
He's so quick in these kind of intense situations where you have to be fast, you have to be funny, you have to stay in character, you have to not get killed. I've never seen anyone on his level do this. And it's brilliant. Like, I love it. He's actually in a serious movie too, right? Coming out.
Yeah. Is it?
He plays someone who is. It's like a murder trial or something like that.
It's about the Chicago 7.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the trial of the Chicago 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he kind of do it all.
It's out. It's been out.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I'd seen a trailer.
It did that thing of like select theaters like last month, and then it's out on Netflix in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Or a week. Well, actually, just over, not this Friday, but next. It's the 16th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's actually, that'll be interesting.
I'm sorry. It was the character I was thinking of. He's got a few of them in there. One of them was the Israel military, a former agent of Mossad. So it's ridiculous. That's in Who Is America? That's the character I was thinking of. Where he comes up with the idea of kindergartens, where they want to train kindergarten kids to use guns. And I forgot who the politician was that showed up in it. But oh my God, it is so bad.
Yeah,
who else did he have in there?
bad.
Yeah, he had that politician. Who was that politician in the South? He was running for office, and then they found out that he might have had a relationship with someone that was under 18.
That doesn't narrow it down any.
God, I think it was Alabama.
The guy that Doug Jones beat. I can't remember the dude's name. The one who still checks out high school cheerleaders at the mall.
Yes, he had him on there, and of course he starts going off about, like, he's making him feel comfortable about talking about, he has a little wand, and he's like, we got this wand where, it can tell if someone's a pedophile, and he's waving it over himself, and then he accidentally goes over the guy, and it beeps. He's like, something must be wrong. It's his face. God. He's just dead staring at Sacha Baron Cohen. It's so good. You gotta see it, man. It's it's great. Sorry, I know that sounds so immature, but man, I love when he gets when he gets the wool pull. These people get the wool pull over their eyes. It's so good.
Yeah. Was it Roy Moore was the guy's name?
That's
right?
Roy Moore. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. Oh my God. There was apparently Ted Koppel had an interview on this at some point.
Yep.
God, I thought he was dead.
Yeah. There's a lot of crazy stuff in Who Is America.
And I get, like, all of these people who are upset because they got duped, but I mean, it's kind of your own fault, really.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but it is.
Totally.
If you and your team don't vet the people interviewing you, like, that's on you. So I mean,
yeah.
Although I'm biased, I still remember Ralph Garman, who does Hollywood Babylon with Kevin Smith. He, back during the height of when we were calling them freedom fries years ago, just randomly called around France pretending to be Jerry Lewis. Because Jerry Lewis is huge in France. They love him over there. And the big finale, because he was doing this when he was still with K-Rock out in LA. This was still on the radio. And the big finale was they called the presidential palace or whatever it is over there when Jacques Chirac was still in charge, and pretended to be Jerry Lewis, and he thought they had hung up on him, It turns out that the person that answered the phone, whoever it was, the secretary or whoever it was, had actually just put him on hold to go get Jacques Chirac. And so Chirac got on the phone and had a relatively not short phone call with a Jerry Lewis impersonator.
Oh my God.
and they aired it. I mean, it went, they aired it, and oh, the shitstorm that followed.
Oh, I bet.
Oh, it was, I mean, from everywhere, every side. But it's just that thing of like, vet your stuff, man. Just, it's your own damn fault.
Yeah, I'm seeing here Jason Spencer, Republican state representative from Georgia, resigned after appearing on the show where he was filmed walking backwards with his pants down, yelling racial epithets. Like he like I said, he gives them enough rope to hang themselves, and they totally do. They totally just
It's that thing of like, it's not manipulated, it's not edited. There's no trickery in the sense of
said no.
Yeah, they're not taking anybody's words out of context. It's just
and I think Bernie Sanders does. Like I think he was one of the ones that were just like, he was like, I think he called Sacha Baron Cohen an idiot at some point, but he was like, no, that's not what it means. It means this. This is, Bernie Sanders. I can't do a Bernie Sanders impression, but he was very politely saying, no, that's not it. Let me explain. This is what I'm trying to explain. But he didn't. Some of these guys are just so off their rockers. But yeah, man. I saw an interview where he's talking about how back in the day when he hosted like the MTV Movie Awards, and he had some guy come out as the leader of Kazakhstan, and Kazakhstan spent like $30 million on a campaign to say how the leader of Kazakhstan was not at the MTV Movie Awards.
Jesus.
And he found out that the I don't know, it was the president of Kazakhstan or whoever was coming to the United States to meet with our president at the time. I think it was Obama, I guess. And Sacha Baron Cohen was like, I gotta meet him. I gotta see him. And so I didn't see if they've actually met or anything like that, but he was just talking about how he flew to Washington, D.C. He tried to see him. He was shouting at him. I just like that's my kind of comedy. That like it's so ridiculous and over the top, and it's a mixture of the real and fake. And it seeing these dumb idiots get played, it's great. And like you said, there's at any time they can just say no. They can just say nope, the interview's over. And they do, some of them do. But man, anyway, sorry, we didn't have to go on a whole Borat thing, but I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's 2020 and we just did like 10 minutes on Borat. What the hell is this year?
Hey man, we need something to laugh at. We need, we need something good to happen.
I'll tell you what's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's one of the comedians who I love watching on YouTube is Steve Hofstetter. I don't know. Have you ever heard of him?
No, I haven't.
Okay. He got big on YouTube because he was just uploading. You know how basically every comedian at some point gets heckled during their set? Even big names. If they go out and work a Friday late show somewhere, there's always a drunk. There's always an idiot. And it happens to every comedian everywhere. He just decided he was going to post those videos up on YouTube.
Okay.
And it made him... It absolutely... His career took off because of it. Cool. And definitely check him out because holy hell, he is funny. Okay. It's not just like, oh my god, he got heckled, but it's that he is just ruthless with these people. It's fantastic. And it's how I imagine most comedians are when it comes to hecklers. He just decided he was going to put this stuff up on YouTube, and it took off. He and a handful of other comedians, I know Ben Glebe is one of them, have started a virtual comedy club. They started it around the time the pandemic was shutting everything down. It's what is it? The social, it's like the social distancing antisocial club or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And it's basically just I don't know if it's every week or every day or every other day or whatever it is. But it's like a cheap virtual ticket to a stand-up show.
Okay.
And and you can see the setup that they have because they've shown some behind-the-scenes stuff where it's a lot like how the NBA is done or how WWE is done with the Thunderdome, where it's just here's a stand-up guy or whoever, and in front of them is just a wall of screens with different people on them. It's basically just a giant Zoom conference, more or less.
Yeah.
But Steve, because of all of the craziness going around, there was a professor or someone at, I want to say it was FSU, who decided that because he was on, he had the ability to, and I don't remember the full story, but basically he was one of those people who could nominate somebody for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay.
And said, you know what would be absolutely hysterical? And also makes more sense than some of the people who are nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, is if this comedian was nominated for Nobel Peace Prize.
Right.
And, there's a great, the nomination letter is great. It's a glowing tribute, blah, blah, blah. Obviously not somebody who deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, but it's meant to just kind of highlight how kind of silly the process is. Right. But it gives him the greatest, and he pointed this out, he said it gives him the greatest comeback ever to, because he is a Jewish redhead, so his comedy is very liberal,
right?
And he has no problem with anti-Trump and anti-GOP material, and he said this gives him the greatest comeback ever to, if somebody wants to say, well, Trump was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, he said he gets to say, yeah, me too, so what? And I thought that's just that is beautiful. That's just magnificent.
That's perfect.
But absolutely look up his channel on YouTube. It's Steve Hofstetter, and you'll see it. It's all heckler clips. He has specials up, full length specials up there for free. He's got 4 of them, I think now. It's killer. It's so damn funny.
What's his last name?
Hofstetter. I don't exactly know how to spell it, but YouTube should be able to help.
Yeah, I found him. Cool.
But and he's got material that goes back, years.
Yeah.
But it's clever and funny as hell. That's my favorite part is how clever it is.
Yeah.
It's smart comedy. Right. But yeah, absolutely check him out. He's hysterical.
Yeah, I'll check him out. That's cool.
But I love that that's been a recent story, because God, that's just so funny.
Right. Yeah. Well, cool, man. Where are we even at? I have totally lost.
We are on TV news now.
Cool. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Disney Plus. We talked last week about She-Hulk. This week we found out they cast their Ms. Marvel. They cast their Kamala Khan. Iman Vellani, which is a name that pretty much nobody will have ever heard of, because she hasn't actually really done anything before, which I think is fantastic. Because I think we talked about this last week. I don't know if it was, I think it might have been with She-Hulk, because I wasn't familiar with who they cast. I know it was somebody from Orphan Black, but
yes,
it was not somebody I was familiar with outside of that. But I loved the idea of them getting either less established names, or in this case, someone who is brand new, basically. And right. I think that's awesome. I can't wait. That's gonna be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm excited. It's one of my favorite characters, especially in the last however many years. Miss Marvel is awesome. So I'm excited for this. And yeah, like you said, it's a new actress. It'll be a fresh face, someone that, kind of like Mark Hamill when he came out was Luke Skywalker. I hope this is kind of like that, I'm excited, dude. I'm so fucking excited.
Yeah.
What other, there's Miss Marvel, there's
It's Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and I really feel like there was one more that they announced that I can never remember.
Oh, okay. So Moon Knight's kind of the only one we're still waiting for. I think this is going to be the biggest one out of those. I think Miss Marvel is going to be huge for people.
Yeah. No, I think in terms of like Moon Knight is going to be great for people who want a Batman TV show.
Yes.
Because that's kind of what it's going to be. It's going to be like a Batman Punisher kind of a hybrid TV show.
Yeah.
She-Hulk is going to be interesting because I'm going to be curious to see like how much of that is it's going to be kind of like Daredevil in how much of it is going to be focused on the courtroom side of things.
I hope it's mostly courtroom, honestly.
I think so too. Like I would love to see more of the like the law and order side of it than the superhero side of it.
Right, right.
But Miss Marvel is going to be just really, really interesting because it's going to be, I mean, it's definitely like a teen drama kind of coming of age story, but there's so many layers to it. Is she still going to be inhuman? Not to mention her not to mention being a Muslim. It's really, really going to be interesting.
Oh yeah.
And then we also have I keep forgetting that Hawkeye and Loki are also ones that we're getting. I always forget those two.
Oh yeah, that's right. Loki's will do good. Hawkeye, I'm curious how that will work.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, let's see what else we got going on.
We also have a new Godzilla anime coming to Netflix.
Oh, okay.
Which it's titled Godzilla Singular Point.
Yeah.
It's coming out next year. It's not going to have anything to do with the anime movies that are on Netflix. It's going to be a whole different timeline, whatever.
Oh, okay.
So that's really it. That's all we know about that. And also, did you catch The Gentleman? The movie that came out, I think it was this year?
I don't think I did.
Oh, you should. Guy Ritchie
movie, right?
Starring Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the guy who was Jax from Sons of Anarchy.
Right.
I can't remember, but him. Along with a bunch of other people. Like that cat, like a really good cast. Colin Farrell, but a handful of others. Good movie. Better than I expected it was going to be.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out if you can. But Guy Ritchie is developing a TV series based off of it.
Oh, okay.
And he's writing, directing, and Matthew McConaughey is going to star.
That's awesome.
So that's really going to be interesting. That's also going to be a big budget because I imagine he doesn't work cheap.
No, not at all.
But
yeah, that should be interesting.
I'm excited for this because the movie was really good. Like it was way, way better than I was expecting it to be. But it's it's that thing of like, this looks like it might be fun. It's Guy Ritchie. It's kind of it's a gangster movie, in a sense. But it was really good. I definitely recommend checking that out for sure.
Okay, cool.
I think that's really all the TV news. Not a ton of news in general this week, really.
Yeah.
We got a little video game news. The PS Plus games for October, I think, are out, right? It's Tuesday, Wednesday. It's Wednesday by now.
Yeah.
But so they're out. Need for Speed Payback and Vampire. Decent offerings. Not the worst they've had recently.
Yeah.
This is a strange quartet, though, for the Xbox games with gold. Because I've only heard of one of these. The Xbox One games, the one that's out for the month of October is Slayaway Camp. Not just Slayaway Camp, but the Butcher's Cut of Slayaway Camp. Never heard of it.
Yeah,
couldn't tell you anything about it. So I'll, I always at least check these games out. They're free. I have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
But that's the one that's available, until the 31st. The mid-month release available from October 16th to November 15th, is Made of Skur.
Never heard of it.
No, hadn't either. Couldn't tell you. I know, again, nothing about it. And then the backwards compatible games, the first one available from the 1st to the 15th is Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. Sure. Okay. I like that they've gone with a theme here. Like, it's all a Halloween theme, and I appreciate that. But then this one is the only one that I've heard of, and it's available from October 16th, October 31st, and it's Costume Quest. I enjoyed Costume Quest. Costume Quest 2 either is on Game Pass or was available with gold at some point in the past, because I have it somehow. I don't remember. I don't remember which way I got it.
Yeah, but, I remember it on PlayStation.
Yeah,
at some point.
But yeah, Costume Quest is fun. I enjoyed it. I'm glad it's going to be one of these.
Cool.
And it's a fun kids, because it's about kids trick-or-treating. And it's a good video game that you can also play as a kid. Like, this is it's a kids RPG, which is odd in a way, I guess. But
yeah.
When we talked about WoW, we talked about Shadowlands being delayed. They've announced Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered is going to be a thing.
Oh, okay.
And that's
right.
They always look great, but I wait to play them and see. I enjoyed Heat. I don't know if it was the last one that came out or the one before that. I can't remember which ones came out when, but I think Heat was the most recent one, and I enjoyed it. I thought it played really well. And the story was actually somewhat interesting, which, for me anyway, has been lacking since, like, Underground 2, way the hell on back when.
Right.
I did like, I don't know, maybe it was Payback that I'm thinking of, that was also actually fairly story-driven. They blend together.
They all blend
so
for
much.
me, yeah.
But that one was, which I think that was Payback, but that was fun too. But yeah, Heat was actually really good. But yeah, Hot Pursuit Remastered comes out November 6th.
Yeah.
So there's that. Anyway.
Yeah.
But
did you see the Henry Cavill Witcher pictures?
Oh yeah, his new armor.
He looks like Arthas, man. If they were doing another Warcraft, I would love him to play Arthas. Yeah, but it looked good.
Yeah.
I know his last. I thought he looked good in the last Witcher show, his costume and whatnot. But I know the armor got a lot of flack for, like, a lot of the different kingdoms and stuff like that. So it looks like, hey, what we're seeing looks amazing.
Yeah, right.
So maybe they took some of that to heart. So yeah, it looks great. It looks like an upgrade. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have they? They're just filming that, right? Or just that's still in production, right?
They're filming it right now, I believe. Yeah. Yep.
So it's next year sometime.
Yeah. Yep. Man, November's going to be here right around the corner. God, I think there's 5 weeks for the PlayStation 5 to come out? 5 weeks away now?
Something 6? Like that, yeah. I think it's 5 or 6, yeah. I'm
trying to count the paychecks until then, but trying to figure out how many weeks I got to pay it off. Yeah. Oh man, time is just it's going fast, but it's not going fast enough.
Yeah, it's fair.
This year has felt like 5 years.
It's like I'm still looking at this and I'm like, it's so weird because March drug on forever and now it's October, and it actually feels like October though.
I don't remember anything that happened in May.
Probably because nothing happened.
Yeah, I don't remember a single thing in May.
That's fair. I'm trying to think. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I was at the theater. I honest to God, I think it's been 7 months.
Yeah, you were there a lot sooner than I was. I couldn't tell you the last movie I saw.
Because I'm trying to think of what was my last day of work, and I really feel like it was in March. I think it was in March. It's like the middle or like third week March. I feel like it was like the 20th or the 20 something.
I think 1917 was the last film I saw in theater. I'm trying to think.
Man, I really thought you were going to say 1917 was the last time you were at a theater.
No. When I was young. No, 1917 might have been the last. No, I've seen one since then. I just can't think of it.
The last thing I saw in a theater, the last new movie I saw in a theater was Bloodshot.
Okay.
I remember that. I remember it plain as day. And that's always kind of made me sad.
Wow. Yeah, no, yeah, that would be a really bad movie. It'd be the last movie seen in theater.
Yeah.
1917 was a great movie theater experience.
Oh, it's fantastic. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know I've seen something since then. I've gone a few times, but that's how not memorable it is. 1917, I remember, but
well, yeah.
I couldn't tell you since then, man.
I couldn't even, I don't remember, like, what came out? Like, what else came out
Nothing,
after that?
Nothing that I know of that was big that would be like, I gotta get to the theater. Gotta see it.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't have been The Grudge. Doolittle came out in January. The Gentleman came out in January. God, I felt like that was last year, but it turns out it was this year. I don't know. Sonic? Did you see Sonic?
No. Yeah.
You need to. It's really good.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Invisible Man yet?
No.
Ooh, it's on HBO Max. Go watch it. It's so
I'll check
good.
that out.
It is very, very good.
Yeah, I'll check that out. For sure.
Onward? Did you go see Onward in theaters?
No.
Okay. It's on Disney Plus. You should check that out too. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I can't, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
There wasn't a chance for a whole lot to come out this year. Really.
Right. Yeah, I feel like once January, February came around and it really hit.
Yeah.
And that's when I think most people were like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going out." I'm sure there were a ton of people that still did, but
yeah. Birds of Prey, maybe. Did you see Birds of Prey in theaters?
No, I saw that. Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough. Then I don't know, man.
Yep.
Bad Boys 3, maybe? That might have been it? No?
I think it was 1917.
Yeah. Because this is the only other stuff I can think of.
Yeah.
Because this is through the end of March. And that's it. Like, I've been going backwards because, like, there's Bloodshot. I don't think it was I Still Believe.
No, definitely not.
But, like, nothing really came out after that. Like, there was stuff supposed to come out, but, like, everything was closing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. No. Pretty sure it was just 1917. I think I saw something after that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Not sure. Oh, well, I think that's it, man. We'll be back next week. Make sure you check out our YouTube. We are on everything. Spotify. My mind's going blank. It's too late. Any of your podcast services, check them out. And we'll be back next week. Captain.